What up, Internet? What's going on? How you doing? How are you doing? It's Wednesday. We're back here in the studio, and I'm realizing that I look kind of weird because we have a new camera here. I look kind of weird because I have a new camera here. We have the new Logitech Brio, and, getting some of the settings dialed in, it's not exactly the easiest camera to get dialed in, I'm going to be honest with you. So, I do look a little bit funny, but maybe it's better. I don't know, but we're looking forward to it being better. We'll be getting better at it. I got to mess with it some more. We'll see how it goes. But happy Wednesday to everybody out there. I hope everyone's having a fantastic midweek, getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. And I'd like to give a shout out to Frank Dominguez, who is back. Apparently his tanks are no longer leaking because he was the first one to the chat. First one to the chat. Meow. Right? So, Frank Dominguez, first one to the chat, followed by Nisi of the North, Candy Overhauls, all about DIY, who's saying, hey everybody, it's freaking warm in Ventura today. It is warm here in Tacoma. Some warm air blew in after a couple weeks of it being cold. Warm air blew in. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but came flying in. And not too bad, not too shabby of a day, realistically. Not unenthusiastic about it. Feels pretty good, honestly. So either way, it's warm here too. So we got that going for us. Let me adjust this a little bit. I think the contrast is up too high. There we go. Let's apply that. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Although I gotta somehow get up here. I gotta get up in my giddy up, sit up a little bit. I wonder if I can just do that on the camera control. Hold on, let's see. Let's change the tilt a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now it's in the right spot. Okay. Cool. Hopefully that looks a little clearer for y'all and y'all can see me. Either way, the video portion's what everybody likes to see anyhow, right? And most people just put up with having to see this whole situation, right? This whole situation I got going on here. But I'm glad to be back in the studio. Those of you following like on Facebook and stuff that gave me a shout out yesterday know that the return from the co-op became a little more exciting than the typical commute due to being hit by some other driver, and that person decided to run off into the night. So I was in a collision yesterday, and thank you very much to everybody out there who reached out and said, hope they're doing okay and all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. If anybody's wondering, I am in regular health. My back and my neck kind of hurt, whatever, not a big deal. I know a lot of people are like, go to the doctor immediately. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that nonsense. It's going to be bad enough to have to get the truck fixed. I drive a 98 Ford, so it gives you an idea of the value of my vehicle. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is the assessment. When they come in with the assessment, they'll probably say, hey man, repairs are more than this vehicle's worth, aka they'll end up totaling it. which sucks. I don't necessarily want to go through that whole situation where they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to cut you a check in 6 months, but we're going to have to put it through the crusher right now. So I don't really want to look forward to that whole situation. It was a little bit odd to be in a hit-and-run kind of deal. I don't normally expect that from people. I do not recommend that type of behavior to anybody out there because he's already been arrested. So that sucks for that guy. Would have just been a little conversation on the side of the road and exchange some information and let me know who your insurance is and all that kind of stuff, and would have been sorted out. But now it's a legal problem. Unfun. So do not recommend that type of behavior to anybody out there. A minor incident turn into a major problem, and that's not cool. That's not a great situation for anybody, and I feel bad for the guy, but that's how it goes. And I would also like to say thank you very much to the quick help from the fellow commuters out in traffic who called it in. They called in right away to the State Patrol, so that's a recommendation I could definitely pass on to people out there, that if you do see an accident like that and you see somebody take off, definitely call it in right away if you can. Obviously, do not put yourself in a dangerous situation where you're making phone calls while driving or whatever. But if you can do it, then I would definitely. I guess Vicky's coming in. She came out of the blue.
Out of nowhere.
I didn't know Vicky was going to come on today. Otherwise, I would have set this up differently. But Vicky Torre is here, and let me. Do you want to?
Okay.
Oh, you're fine right there. You just want to hang out in the back and look super pretty?
Background.
All right. Well, if you hang out in the back and looking super pretty,
Lurker
then
style,
that's all
right.
good. Well, I don't.
Lurker.
Hold on. You're like right in my shadow, so maybe let's switch right over here, and then we'll go like that.
Bitty Browns.
And then yeah, now you're not in the shadow, so we don't have the shadow effect.
Yes.
Like shadow effect snow. Yeah. So we were just talking about the car accident yesterday on the way home from the co-op, and trying to just give some standard issue advice to the regular people out there that, hey, if you get in a crash, just pull off to the side of the road, change the insurance and that kind of stuff. And my mom apparently has no idea what I do on a regular basis because she's calling at 4:09 p.m. So I guess I'll have to call her back later. But if you do get in an accident like that, just remember to pull off to the side of the road. It's going to be an inconvenient thing, but now it's going to be a real big problem for that guy. So
if you don't drive like a idiot, then hopefully you don't have accidents.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to drive like an idiot. That's pretty base. That's pretty base advice, though, but I'm saying that, like, if you do make a mistake, don't follow it up by another mistake, like running away, because then it becomes a bigger problem. So, like as I was saying, a special thanks to the people that called it in. I don't know who you are. Maybe someday they'll see this and they'll go like, that was me. But how would they know? How would they know it was me or them or me or them? I don't know. But everything will work out. It'll all work out fine. The biggest problem with my truck, the damage is all to the back end, obviously, the booty area in the back of the truck. I drive an Explorer, and the Explorer tow package is unfortunately connected to the bumper, which is connected to the frame rails, which is how you tow a trailer. So that is ultimately going to be a problem because as it used to be like this, now it's like this. So it is going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to figure out what to do. We're either going to have to get a new vehicle or repair this one. And like I said, I just do not see how the I do not see how the insurance company is going to go, yeah, let's just fix it. So I'm not looking forward to the, hey, man, we're going to cut a check kind of situation, which I was talking about earlier. It's going to suck. But either way, we'll get it sorted. It will work out, and we'll definitely get to the bottom of it. We'll get to the bottom of it, and I don't care who's at the top, right? And I wanted to make a quick mention of the patronizers. Thank you very much to the patronizers out there. We've got a few days before the end of the month. If anybody is reticent to get onto the Patreon and kick in a couple bucks or whatever, I probably got to end up buying a new bumper here. Because I can't tell you guys exactly what's going on, but I have my concerns about this this insurance situation. So I'll keep you guys updated on that later on. But we might have to get a new bumper, and the Dr. Fischenstein has to make an appearance at some point in time, and that's our next goal. We're trying to get to that next mark, and it would be dope if we could hit that by the end of the month. But either way, I'm super enthusiastic about the Patreon, all the patronizers and all that kind of stuff. I would like to mention real quickly, I have a whole bunch of videos and stuff going in the can right now, so we have a lot of cool projects coming up as far as planted tanks go. We have a lot of cool projects coming up with the reef. If anybody noticed today, the episode 613, My Skimmer Broke, is the title. So if anybody is really not interested in reef stuff, go ahead and just watch the whole entire video. Maybe you'll accidentally learn something that would maybe spark your reef idea that you're like, I've always been thinking that, like, I want to do it, but I'm so scared. I'm so scared of the salt water. But don't be scared of the salt water, because the salt water is delicious and nutritious, and you grow corals in there and have fancy fish. All right, let me finish. Now that we have a bunch of people here, let me say hi to everybody real quick. Cute Nix is here. Well, Cute Nix is here twice. Oh, there we go. Double up. And Big Pedro is here. What's up? Good to see you. Smutskid's disc.
What?
I've never been early to the show before. Smutzig disc. Right there. Am I reading that wrong? Smutskid boy.
Sig disc.
Smurskid disc. Smurf. Hi, Smurf. Gone Mad is here. What's up? That's Iris and Eric. How y'all doing? Glad to see you. Just made an all-in-one 10-gallon with dual overflows. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did check out that 10-gallon when you were there. I really like what you got going on there. The thing is dope. Baby Juice Deadham is here. That's earlier.
Oh, I missed.
Tim Lewis is here. Cichlid Nez is here. Teresa Cookie is here. Dank Tanks, BC
Cookie.
Fish Room is showing up. Jamie McDonald, what's up? Mellow Moogle, how you doing? HC Aqua's here. Master Beta. You got me. I read it out loud. Master Beta, what's up, Internet? How you doing? The Fishy Mailman is here. I guess I should say Master Beta or something, right? That would be easy. That would be better. I bet the closed captioning is going to immediately demonetize this. This is not suitable. This is not suitable for advertisers. So let's run through. All About DIYs, getting that 400-gallon going again. That is awesome. I look forward to seeing some updates on that. Phil Emerson is here. Daryl Dimer, what's up? Kevin Keener, our favorite bus driver / mechanic man. Yeah. Digging it. Juan M. Ruiz is here. I guess we missed Juan yesterday. I guess he was in the co-op, and Corey and I missed him, but hey, thanks for going over to the aquarium co-op and getting some stuff from there. I actually swung by there last night and actually got to meet Allie in person. So if Allie's out there, what's up? Very nice gal who works at the aquarium co-op. Super nice. If you get a chance to go in there and say hi to those guys, I would definitely do it. If not, you could always just check them out online. Like maybe you live in Florida and you're like, hey man, I need me some Anubias. I need me some fertilizers. Fertilizers.
Or a skimmer.
Or he doesn't have skimmers for sale. They don't have that. No. But if you need anything, go ahead and swing on to aquariumcoop.com. Candy Overhaul's just posted it up in the chat there in case you're wondering, like, hey, man, where do I find it? All right. Let's see. Everybody's saying glad to see that I'm okay. Yep, I did not die. And as my buddy Jake said, Jake has known me for a really long time, and his assessment was, for some reason, Joel seems to be invincible for whatever reason. Nothing has killed him yet, but it sucks that his car got broke. And I was like, all right, that's not bad. I dig it.
Duty man.
Steve Scoggins says to smash the like button. That's right.
Smash it.
Hit that like button out there for y'all. I mean, we got the dog and Vicky on here today. We got Mr. Chips. He's looking yawning.
Super dapper.
He's a looking dapper. He's a dapper looking fella. Oh, what a great doggy. I learned a new thing about Mr. Chips today. If anybody was wondering, I learned a new thing about Mr. Chips today.
What's that?
I started to learn his language. I'm starting to speak Mr. Chips. I'm learning. It's like... Okay, so I'm not as good at it as I thought I was earlier.
He's probably wondering why you just told him that you parked the toilet in the driveway.
That's right, I parked the toilet. Out there. CNH Aquatics, hello Joel, happy Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you tomorrow. Just an update on the live stream and what's going on here. Tomorrow, we will not be live tomorrow. We have a bunch of family stuff, so we'll be traveling around. If you are jonesing for some live Corvus and some live Vicky, how do I do this? Hold on, I got to put it over there. Victoria.
I can't, duty.
We will be on the Aquarium Co-op 8-hour Thanksgiving live stream extravaganza. We will be there, and I won't tell you what time we're going to be there because you got to tune in for the whole thing. I know it's 8 hours long, but tune in for the whole thing. You know why? Because you're an adult. Or not an adult. But either way, you could tune in for the whole thing. Just throw in an earbud, you know? Use up all your data. All great ideas. But that's where we'll be making a live appearance tomorrow. We'll be back on schedule on Friday. I do have a short video coming out tomorrow at our regular 4 o'clock time. So that will be a fun little video that's coming out. Hopefully you guys all tune into that. Watch it 100,000 times, share it out with every single person you've ever met in your entire life. Yeah, and hopefully we can get that rolling. We'll see what's up. Maybe you like it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe you like an old video. Share that one out. I don't know. What's up?
Mellow Moogle. Mr. Chip Speaks Muppet?
Mr. Chip Speaks Muppet? Yes, he is actually 38% Muppet, I believe. Oh, hey, buddy. He's just sitting right down here. It's hard to hold him.
And do the live stream.
And sit in a bar stool. That's not the most comfortable. Aren't we holidaying until 6 p.m. GMT? I'll be there. Who else will? The Fishy Mailman's going to be there. Cool. So we'll be making an appearance on that, the Aquarium Co-op channel. So that long stream that will be there, we'll be making an appearance tomorrow. Probably sneaking in at the Aquarium Co-op and yelling some surprises. I was sneaking up on them and getting all weird and see how that whole thing is going. Maybe we can get Jimmy on the camera at some point. Maybe. And I'll
sneak up on him.
Maybe.
Nobody will expect me to have a camera.
Yeah, Vicky will be rocking the camera, doing some camera work. Let's see. Source a bumper and brackets from Fish Tropic. Yeah, I could source the bumper and the brackets. I'm just worried that the frame might be bent, and if I have to do that on the truck, if I have to realign the frame, I don't have anything to pull it here. So that might be the big problem. And as I said earlier, there's some ins and outs with the insurance people and whatnot. I'm going to see what happens with that. I'm probably going to enlist some help on Friday from somebody who could probably help me figure it out. It's been more than confusing, honestly, I'll put it that way. And I believe that confusion is structured on purpose so that it makes it very difficult for people to go like, hey, dude, somebody crashed, man. It's time to get it happening. It's time to get it happening, if you know what I'm saying. So I think it's all on purpose that they're making it super hard to, or super difficult to get that stuff going. All right, we're going to be heading over to the video segment, and you guys will see something playing down in there, and that is a shout out to the it's a shout out to the patronizers. That's the link right there. I just posted in the chat. Go ahead and click on that. Go over there, and at the very least, maybe you don't want to patronize me, but just go ahead and make an account. They're a super cool company where a lot of people that are making a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think of what that word is. People that make stuff, creators, a bunch of creators on there doing a whole bunch of stuff. Right. Creators, artists, whatever you want to call them. A lot of cool projects on there, so maybe you want to throw $1 to somebody or whatever. But the reason for the Patreon is the production of all this stuff here. So Wushu Jimmy Brown is here. Finally made it. Got stuck in traffic behind a Mercedes-Benz with the license plate. Oh, high maintenance. Well, Wushu, that's a better commute than I had yesterday because they crashed into me yesterday. They're giving me the crash, right? They crashed into me yesterday, so at least that's better, right? Maybe get stuck behind a dingleberry, but that's better than getting crashed into. So, Big Pedro's saying the surprises, yeah. I miss you tomorrow already. Like I said, BC, we're gonna be making an appearance tomorrow. But it will be on the Aquarium Co-op, and I'll have a short video coming out. I have a short video with some cool stuff that you guys might be interested in, featuring some certain kinds of things that may or may not be a thing or not that you might be interested in. What? Oh, Glassbox is showing up super late. Hello. Showing up super late, bro, but just in time for the video. Boop, 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 boop. As you can see, we went to the other camera. See what happened there, babe? Whoa. Oh, who's switching cameras? This guy. Super fancy. Yeah. But we're down in the corner, so we don't really need that HD. We need people to focus on the video segment up here. That's the important part. Okay, as we coming into the beginning of the video here, and this is not the beginning of the video. Let's see. Why did it start weird? There we go. Right here at the beginning of the video, and I'm going to pause it because we're going to click over to the whiteboard, and we're going to do a little illustration here. Come on. Come on, man. Size, thick. There we go. Big. Why is it not working? Oh. I have to put it in front. There we go. All right, hold on. I got to clear it. Clear whiteboard. There we go. All right. So those of you that don't know what a skimmer is, this is it right here. That is the skimmer that operates in my sump. If you don't know what a skimmer does, a skimmer is going to remove, and Vicky just says poop. What does a skimmer do? Poop. Oh, it poops?
No.
Oh.
It collects the poop.
It collects detritus and doo-doo from your water column. Now, the way that it functions is it has a utility pump at the base that essentially has a venturi valve. If that's confusing to you, that means it lets in air. So if you've ever seen a return pump and it's maybe going into your freshwater tank or something like that, and it's going it's pulling air, this eliminates the noise, but it does mix the air more effectively as it goes up into the main cone right here, which is this clear piece back here, right? It goes up into there, and then it just creates this cavalcade of turbulence with bubbles in it, right? Now, why that's important is that all of the doo-doo and detritus and stuff like that is wandering around in your water column within salt water is actually buoyant. It's actually buoyant in salt water, so it will float around. Whereas if you notice in freshwater tanks, if you're talking about moam or if you're talking about doo-doo, will sink straight to the bottom. It is actually heavier than freshwater typically, and will just sink right to the bottom of your tank. Whereas
unless you eat a lot of fiber.
Unless you eat a lot of fiber, yes, but fish. Okay. Doo-doo. Poop? Did you say poop?
Poop.
Okay. it will generally sink to the bottom of the aquarium in a freshwater application, whereas in a reef tank, there's so much salt in the water that detritus, leftover food, the poop or whatnot, will float around in the water column, and all this agitated air inside of that cone right there, and I'm drawing more under the whiteboard here, inside that cone will actually lift all of that stuff, and then through water tension, right, will carry all that stuff up into the very top of the skimmer, which now I gotta start the video back up. Let's clear the whiteboard here. Gadoosh, there we go. And it'll end up in the cup, which I'll show you guys the cup later. But right now, the main thing that we're focusing on is this black piece right here, which is actually, as water cycles through the skimmer, right here, it will come back out. This is the return back out into the tank. You can see here by its flow is that it is, oh, hold on, this takes a second. Got to clear that. Go back to this. It is dumping a ton of water. So you can see that a lot of water is coming out of it very rapidly. Now, what does this mean? This means that it's actually forcing water through the skimmer too fast, and it's just going straight into the cone and right back out of the return. There's me waving my hand around going, no, 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 no. This is not good. You can see a lot of spray up on the side of the sump because water is just going far too rapidly through the skimmer and it's not working effectively. There's me turning it off, and I'm removing the cup off of it because before you do any kind of maintenance on your skimmer, always take the cup off that is filled with the doo-doo, which is normally referred to as skimmate. They call it skimmate. And let me tell you something about skimmate. Skimmate is the doo-doo from your water column. And I will tell you, if you've never been around it before, it smells like 3 newborn babies took a dump in one diaper. Ooh, it is brutal.
3 babies, 1 diaper.
3 newborn babies, 1 diaper. It is brutal. It is not something that you want to hang around. It's not something you want to just dump into your garbage can right next to your aquarium, if you know what I'm saying. This is something that you got to put outside, if you know what I'm saying. Put it in the garbage. You guys, and the liquid you want to pour off, put that right into the garbage can and just get rid of it. The solids that you get are not bad for anything. The solids that you get there, you can actually just, throw that into your compost or whatever. That's not a bad thing. But the liquid you want to pour off the liquid into a garbage can or something like that. There really just isn't much to do with it. The liquid portion of it's really, really, really doo-doo-y and not good. So you definitely don't want to be like just throwing that somewhere. But it does smell terrible, so keep that in mind. And before you do any maintenance, you always want to clear that thing out because it's happened to me before where I went to go take the pump off and the whole thing tipped over and fell right back into the tank many years ago. And so just a hot tip for people out there, just remember, before you start doing any of this, be sure to empty the collection cup at the top before you do any of this other stuff. So you can see here I'm taking apart the pump because the pump was still operating, but because it was forcing water so rapidly, the first inclination that I have is that something was wrong with the Venturi valve, right? So this right here is the Venturi valve. That's the hose that draws air in from outside, from up above the water level. And the first thing that I went through was to find out if that was just clogged somehow. Which one time I saw a fly get trapped in there, like a fly, like maybe not like a house fly, but like a little fly bug thing got stuck in there once. That's what clogged it up. And so, that was my initial thing, is to go like, okay, maybe there's something maybe stuck in there or whatever. So before I even took it all apart, my initial thing was double check the end of that little rubber hose, and believe it or not, I actually blew into it to see what was going on. I It's one of those things that like sounds gross or whatever, but there's nothing really dirty on it. Just blow into the hose. It's fine. And it was definitely not pulling the kind of air that it really should. So that means time to take apart the pump, which these pumps are designed to completely take apart and clean and do maintenance on. And basically the only maintenance that you do on them is cleaning them. Oh, am I going to sneeze?
Whoa. Scared the duty.
I scared the dog. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. The sneeze came out of nowhere. As you guys can see here, I'm actually just making a little tool. I found myself some 14 gauge wire and went ahead and pulled the ground out of it. And guess what? It's a perfect little stabber that goes right in there. It's nice and rigid and stabs right through the hole.
Wang-jangling that thing.
I'm just wang-jangling it. So what had built up inside of here, I couldn't tell you exactly what had built up in here. Maybe a little bit of protein buildup. It's possibly like some coralline algae or something. It had just gotten a little bit built up into this hole. And then while I was there, I went ahead and just cleaned all the other parts before putting it back together and just did basic maintenance on it, which meant double checking the magnet to see if the magnet was still attached to the impeller properly. Everything looked good. I just cleaned it all off after that. So it turned out that this ultimately was the problem with the skimmer. So it actually was a pretty quick fix and realistically not any kind of real big issue. One of the reasons that I stay with this skimmer is because this is a self-adjusting skimmer. It works fantastically, but this is one of the issues that you'll run into occasionally is that something may or may not get just a little bit clogged up. This skimmer has been a workhorse for me, and I can't tell you who makes it because they don't exist anymore. It doesn't really matter. So, but this thing has been a workhorse for a really long time, and people ask me if I have a backup skimmer. Yes, I have a backup skimmer. It is actually a... Geez.
Sorry.
That's...
You picked the chair?
I have a coralline... I have a coralline skimmer that is actually... or Coralife skimmer, not Coraline. I have a Coralife skimmer, which is my backup skimmer that just sits kind of on a shelf just in case something really bad happened. But this thing has worked fantastically for years and years. It is a self-adjusting skimmer, as I said. Now you can see the flow coming out of there is not crazy. It's just this kind of regular, kind of low, not buck wild flow coming out of the return right there. It gives me the point that you can see some of the bubbles are overflowing out of the cap right there, but that is on purpose. It actually goes up higher than the level of without the cup on it. It actually goes higher up than that. But that gives me an idea of how much flow is coming back up out of it. And here is the collection cup out in the sunlight. Much easier to see. And this is me cleaning it, right? You do not want to brush clean this thing or anything like that. You just want to spray it off with water. And in fact, just leave a little bit of the leftover stuff on it. You never want to get this. You don't want to like bleach clean this thing. You don't want to do anything like that. Just spray it down with some fresh water, and that is going to be plenty. And the reason for that is that it does carry a little bit of biological on it, and you'll have to re-break in your skimmer again if you go ahead and 100% bleach clean this thing together. That is one of the reasons why, or one of the reasons why a lot of people have problems with their skimmers, because they go completely crazy cleaning it and go like, yeah, it's pristine and it's like brand new and all that kind of stuff. And then they have to break it back in again, and then they go, it's not working properly. So when you do clean it, just spray it off, kind of wipe it off. Don't take like a brush or any kind of cleaner or anything like that. Just a little bit of fresh water. Like I said, dump out the liquid into a garbage can, and then just kind of spray off the rest of the stuff, and you can just put that into your compost or anything like that. So Smutsig Disc is asking, I've never used a skimmer. Is it worth it? It's not necessarily a must-have, as Candy was saying, but it is maybe like right behind lights if you're going to be purchasing equipment. it's really one of those things that a really minimal investment, you're talking like $100, $150, somewhere around that line, will last you a really long time and save you so much trouble in the long run as far as the reef goes. Or, any reef tank. I have often had people approach me and go like, well, why can't I use a skimmer type situation on a freshwater tank? And the reason for that is the detritus and everything is not buoyant in fresh water. It doesn't, it's not as dense as salt water is. Salt water has a ton of salt in it, and it won't carry the doo-doo up in it. So you'd basically just have an air reactor. So you could use a skimmer in a freshwater application, but all it would be doing would be oxygenating the water. It wouldn't be removing anything from it. And it would be much simpler just to make one out of a few PVC parts from Home Depot if that's what you wanted to make. It's like I said, it's not 100% necessary. There are some other ways that you could do this in a reef tank, and a lot of it has to do with like a Berlin style, where you just have a ton of live rock, and that's generally Berlin style. Doesn't have a ton of corals. One of the big reasons for running a skimmer on on a saltwater aquarium is that if you have corals. If you have a coral tank, if you have corals in your tank, it's better to just be running a skimmer. It also helps with oxygenating the water also, because this skimmer is constantly oxygenating the water, which is definitely helpful in a reef situation. It stops from the acidification of the possible acidification of your saltwater tank. So, I find it to be just wildly useful, and the small amount of money that you have to put in really helps keep things stable for things like really expensive corals. It's one of those things that if you start to add up, you're like, oh, I bought a $50 coral, I bought two $25 frags, I bought an anemone for like $60, I bought a couple of fish, bought a couple of that, slowly over a year, you could easily have $1,000 worth of things kind of just growing in your tank, and be really enjoyable that you slowly build up to that point, and then you think, well, I didn't want to spend that $100 on a skimmer because just sounded like too much money at the beginning, but you would really give yourself an opportunity to add more of a safety net for your investment into the corals and stuff like that. So I would recommend it. It just doesn't seem like one of those things that's going to save anybody money or anything like that. Now, as far as like you can see to the left of my skimmer, I have a reactor running there and things along those lines. Those are all peripheral things that are certainly not a necessary item, in my opinion. So you could definitely save money on certain things like that, like reactors, extra pumps, and all that kind of stuff. But as you saw earlier, or just a minute ago in the video portion there, I had me holding up some macroalgae, some Cato, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, the other algae I was holding up. But holding those up, you can see the light there and all that kind of stuff. That is also helping me keep my water parameters really nice, because they're using up any excess nitrates and phosphates and things along those lines, and definitely helps out in that way. And so, like, let's say you didn't want to go out and buy like a $50 reactor and a $30 pump and nonsense and media and all that stuff. A great way to save money would be just find an old light like the one I have on there, and grow some macroalgae in the sump. Those macroalgae, I bought the Cato for $10. I bought the other one, which escapes my mind right now. I can't think of the macroalgae, the name of it. Maybe Carson's in the chat and he can post it up there. The other macroalgae I bought for $15, I think, right? And they've just been slowly growing, and at some point in time, I could take that giant clump and probably sell it for $15 again. So it's sort of one of those things that you could do if you're really trying to save money. I don't think you're going to save money skipping out on a skimmer, but reactors and stuff like that, you could definitely save money by getting some macroalgae and finding just an old light, putting it in your sump, and growing some macroalgae. One of my favorite guys out there that that I've been interneting with for a really long time, old BM himself. He actually built a refugium out of an old AquaClear that he had. He had an AquaClear 70 that he had. He made 2 little chambers in there, and he found I think he found a couple of LEDs that he stuck to the side of it, and that actually just operated that way, just like an old, it was just an old freshwater filter that he had running through there. Fish and Plants saying, I use Zinnia and Calupera in my Fuge and works awesome. That is perfect. That is basically, yeah, that's right on there.
What up, bro?
What happened? We got a dog? Oh, Mr. Duty wants back on the show, which is smart. So let me look through the chat here and see what's going on. The Turtle Girl is here. Hey, Turtle Girl, how you doing? Carmelo was asking, am I watching a podcast? Yes, this is the live stream podcast kind of stuff. Wushu Jimmy Brown, what's the old wives' tale? I think that is, if you sneeze with your eyes open, they'll pop out. That sounds unfortunate. Yeah, I've sneezed with my eyes open. My eyes didn't pop out. Either way, haven't kept salt. BC Fisherman hasn't kept salt in 20 years. Back then, it was hard to get a decent skimmer. Went through a few that sucked. Yes, nowadays the technology is so much better than it used to be. It is just leaps and bounds beyond where it has been. That it really is not so cost prohibitive as it used to be. As you guys know, this 180 was this 180-gallon reef that I run here. It was actually a used tank that I got from a guy off of Craigslist, and Vicky and I both got it off of Craigslist. What's this? Chocolate chip. Vicky and I we went down and got it from a guy off of Craigslist, and it was actually pretty affordable. I built the stand myself. The sump was from something else. I can't remember what the sump was from. The skimmer was used equipment that I got from a long time ago. So there is pretty affordable ways to do saltwater now, even if you are buying some of the new stuff. I would always recommend people out there to kind of find some castaway equipment that people are selling off. There are a lot of great groups out there, and you can definitely find really cool stuff. Like I found some Radeon Gen 3 LEDs, which if you went back like 3 years ago, those brand new were like $1,200 a piece, and there was a guy locally that was selling them for $150 a piece. Because he bought the Gen 4 ones, Generation 4 ones. So that's just kind of an example that you can definitely find some really good deals and definitely get back into what you're doing. If you want to get back into saltwater stuff, I would highly recommend it, because now is kind of the time. There's a lot of cool people out there, and the networking is just unbelievable now. So I don't think that it's too it's just so far out there that like it used to be, that it's not all that expensive anymore.
Get him, Duty.
So I'm gonna read the chat here while Vicky talks in my ear real quietly. What's happening? Hello.
Duty to get you.
Hello. Calurpa. I believe that Calurpa is edible. Maybe. It might not be.
Seaweed.
But there is a ton of edible seaweeds out there that are edible. And I, for whatever reason, I cannot remember. Hold on a second. I'm going to look this up.
Let me look in the chat. See what's going on.
Let me see some macroalgae here. Images. I can't remember what it is, and I didn't see anybody post it up in there. There it is.
Macroalgae.
Kato, Kato, Kato. Do. Kato, Kato, Kato. Dragon's tongue is what I got. It's a Halimenia. Halimania. Halimania is the other one that's in my sump. That one is edible. I wouldn't eat it out of a fish tank though. Just because I just wouldn't. It just doesn't seem like the smooth move, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so hopefully everybody got a good idea of what was going on with the skimmer and stuff like here, and I'm going to start rolling through the chat and answering some of these questions. Don't hold a sneeze or you'll get skimmate in your shorts. Yeah, that's a good point.
Missed that comment.
Carmelo is saying, as much as I love these videos with your pretty mug on it and your cute girlfriend, I would love to see a room tour of all of your tanks. We definitely do go through a lot of my tanks as we go through the week, so maybe one of these days I'll do a room tour video, but one of the things that I'm working on is being able to do live streams from the fish room. A lot of it has to do with the internet networking and all that kind of stuff. We don't have... So where the fish room is, there's a cell tower that is like up behind it, which is the cell tower that operates this whole area, and the fish room happens to be like right in the shadow of that cell tower. So when I when I talk to the guys at our cell phone provider, I'm not giving them a free commercial, right? Our cell phone provider, they were going like, oh yeah, there's really nothing that we could do. You could get like a booster thing or something or blah, 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 whatever. It was just like, oh, okay, we're in the shadow of the cell tower. So it's like if you walk into our house, the more you walk away from the fish room, cell service gets better. So it's just an unfortunate placement of some of the infrastructure stuff. So it's not like I'm super mad, bro, or anything like that. But the network lines are in, and the Wi-Fi is getting extended, the Wi-Fi. So at some point in time, those of you guys that are going like, man, I want to be able to get a fish room tour or any of that kind of stuff, well, I'll actually be doing... I'll be doing some live stream in the future from the fish room. So if that's something that you can look forward to, think of it maybe like an early Christmas present or something along those lines. That stuff will be coming up. So we'll be able to actually just be in front of the aquarium sometimes and do some shows from out there. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that. We're very close. We're very close. It's just going to be a bunch more crawling around in the crawl space, which... that lady right there is going to help me out with. They're like, hand me the wires while I crawl around. And that's coming up very soon. So I understand that a lot of people want the fish room tours and stuff. I try to keep things focused, too, on the show. So, but I do... If you guys have stuff that you need, you let me know. One of the best ways to let me know is to head over to the Patreon. There's a community tab there that is awesome. You guys are able to message me and that kind of stuff. You guys could always message me on Darkstar Arts, also is a great way to do it. Be sure to click through the Amazon banner. Turn off your ad blocker when you go to Darkstar Arts. The only ad that is on there is the Amazon ad. Click through that banner, and it just gives us props for sending customers to Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything. Unless your name is Corey, because Corey ends up buying a whole bunch more stuff, apparently. That's what he said yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One can use a skimmer in fresh water, but in my opinion is only good for getting rid of protein buildup on the water surface and more oxygen. That's right, Chris. That's all I've ever seen. And there are much easier ways in fresh water to get rid of protein buildup, in my opinion, and that's just... add a power head to a little bit of surface agitation is actually kind of the easiest way to do it in fresh water. Adding a whole entire skimmer is pretty much overkill, realistically, to a freshwater tank. But it will add more O2 also. But like I said earlier, just a couple of parts from PVC. You can make your own oxygen reactor if you wanted. It's a very cheap, much cheaper and more affordable way to do it.
Don't you have a video on that?
On an oxygen reactor? No, I have a bunch of videos on CO2 reactors in order to infuse CO2 into your water, but those would work fine. You just replace the CO2 with oxygen, just air from outside. Yeah, but it's just not Not a lot of value there, honestly, unless you're trying to get more. Oxygen into your water. Fish and Plants is asking, do you run GFO in your reactor? Actually, I have 2 reactors right now. I'm running charcoal again, just to help kind of polish the water a little bit. I do run GFO from time to time, but I normally don't let them run full time. Either way, I normally will run them for at most a week, because honestly, sometimes I forget that it's on there. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? You're like, whatever, right? Sometimes I forget and it's on there for a week or whatnot, but generally I only run GFO for like a week at most. Normally 3-day periods is what I'll run. I'll run either charcoal or GFO, mainly just because I always have the fear that if I leave it on there for a month or something along those lines, that it could turn over and have a real problem. Not like fall over, but it chemically could have a problem after running for too long. Headed out to drive the people home from Kevin Keener. Have a great stream and happy Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you, Kevin. The early Thanksgiving. Wyatt Ward says, yeah, if you're getting biofilm on top of your freshwater tank, can you just use a DIY a protein skimmer with a power head and a water bottle and polyfill? Yeah, that's actually an easy way to do it. I think that's like extra work even, because realistically, if you have the power head, that's basically all you need. It's just get a little bit more surface agitation, and your filtration in a freshwater tank will just pick it up and move it out of there. I feel like it's close to a must, while in freshwater is more like a small addition to combat surface film, but there are many ways to do that besides a skimmer. Yep. I would agree with that. None of it makes into your display. Don't know what's going on there. So alternatively speaking, it's a hang-on-back sponge filter. Oh, a guy who knew a guy that knew another guy. Jay's Aquatics is here. Hey, what's up?
Howdy.
Good to see you. All right, let me catch up with some of the chat here a little bit. Salt adds a certain viscosity to water that lends itself to skimmers functioning well. Yes, it's actually the density of the water in conjunction with the water tension. Thanks, Chris. Viscosity. What's the viscosity of it? Well, it's a 30 weight. Oh. A spray tan machine? What's going on?
I don't know what's going on. Something about tans. Corey is saying tans come at a price. Nisi is saying she'll trade us 2 snowmen for a tan.
Oh. 2 snowmen for a tan.
Oh, 3 snowmen.
3 snowmen?
Oh.
I don't know. I was thinking at 2 snowmen, it's probably not enough, but 3 snowmen for a tan. That might be reasonable. Made it home in time for the end of Steven Scoggins here. What's up?
Yeah.
Let's see. That candy. Caleb says Vicky looks very pretty today. She always looks pretty.
Thank you, Caleb.
Oh, Frank Dominguez says Vicky always looks pretty too. That's right.
You guys.
We're right. We're both right. How can we both be right if we're both right? You know. Let's see. Somebody said hi, Turbo. What's up? Oh, hey, Turbo's there. All right, Turbofish is here. He's not making candy today, which is good.
I want more candy, Turbofish.
Oh.
I got some of those organic gummy bears, and they were super delicious.
Yeah, they're super good. She wants all pineapple, though.
I like pineapple.
I know. That's why I said she wants all pineapple.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, my eyes.
Okay, so as we were saying, it doesn't seem like people have a ton of questions today in regards to the skimmer, so we'll kind of move on to a couple of the projects that are up and coming. As you guys can tell, we're back over on this computer. We have an ongoing situation with the new studio, but things are coming together very well. minus some gaff tape and a few other situations. But we're running the Brio over here just to test the internet and see how everything is going, how much bit rate everything is going to chew up, and if anything was going to get dropped and whatnot. Because I wanted to make sure before I move this camera over to the 2K setting over there, if it would be able to handle it or not. So right now I'm actually tracking what's going on here, and it looks to be right in the bandwidth that shouldn't be a huge problem, much further than the other computer can handle. So at some point in time, that studio computer is gonna explode at some point in time. So either way, that's what's going on there with that. And then we also have a bunch of new rock work that will be coming up in one of the tanks. We have a bunch of light videos coming up, going on with some new light stuff, and also have some new plants coming in, which Vicky doesn't know about because they're secrets. Secret surprises!
Are you sneaking plants into my tank?
No, she can just go out there and look at them.
Oh.
They're just holding in the sump. She just doesn't know that they're here. So we definitely got some good plant stuff coming up and a few other things happening. And I'm pretty enthusiastic to say that the Patreon's doing fantastically well. Hopefully we can hit our next goal by the end of the month. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Kevin Keener was posting in the Patreon today. So if I'm seeing corals actually growing, is that when I can say I'm a coral farmer? Not yet. Not yet. And I'll get to that in just a second. Or do I have to actually frag something before obtaining this status? Just thought of a 35-year-old kid playing with something new. That's right. One of the great things about if you're gonna possibly get into if you're going to get into doing some reef stuff and things like that, and maybe you're somebody who's done freshwater for a really long time, it's not going to be a huge transition for you. You're just going to have to learn a few different testing, a few different light spectrums, and some mixing things and whatnot. It's actually not a huge leap, whereas most people think. And Kevin has recently been endeavoring on some saltwater projects, which is badass. Maybe one of these days I'll go over and do a fish room tour at his place. And we'll see if we can get an opportunity to put that together. But you're not officially a farmer until you actually frag some corals, which if the freshwater people are confused, it's like propagating plants. That you propagate your plants, you have all these extra plants, then you maybe you tie them up with a lead weight, or maybe you put them in your own pot and sell them off to somebody else. That would be the same thing with corals. Corals grow, and as you get too much of them, you will cut them and glue them to a new little rock, right? And then you'll be able to sell that later on. Somebody else, I don't know, Bob, Bill, who knows? I don't know who's gonna come buy it. I can't tell you. Who's gonna come buy it ahead of time, but somebody will come and buy it, and then you'd actually be a coral farmer. That's when you get your certificate in the form of little green dollar bills. Greens dollar bills, right? Right?
Oh.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. See, I think we can officially say poop on the stream, considering my coffee cup says poop on the stream.
I can answer that question.
Oh, Victoria wants to come in and answer some.
Jay's Aquatic says, how do you plant a ponatogen? Right? Is that how you say it? Apano. I just call it apano.
Aponatogen. Aponageton is actually how you say it.
Oh, is it Aponageton? Mm-hmm. Oh. Well, I got my original Apano, as a bulb, that I just stuck in the substrate, and then it sprouted. The Apanos that I have now, just kind of, when they're happy, they just kind of set little sprouts out. But yeah, just stick it in the dirt. Oh, Dwayne Kitchell is asking how my sinus trouble is doing with the cold weather. So Since I got my sinus surgery, I haven't had any sinus trouble at all. They went in and roto-rootered that stuff. No problems. Digging it. Actually, and my migraine headaches have pretty much gone away. I mean, I still get headaches. I still get sinus headaches if my sinuses get dry. But I haven't had a sinus infection, and I haven't had a full-blown migraine in at least a month, if not more. Yeah. So.
Yeah. If anybody was wondering what Vicky was talking about, the doctors went in and removed turbinates, is what they removed, aka blockages in the sinus cavity, and she had 2 raccoon black eyes and looked like I beat her up for a couple days. But it was still cute, and it worked out because she's beautiful. So, you know. Fooling. Right? Apponageton is how you say it.
Apponageton.
Mm-hmm.
Wushu Jimmy Brown says Apponageton.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably say everything wrong. I'd say my own name wrong. I don't even know. Where am I from? I don't know. Space? The moon?
The moon.
All right, so we're coming up on the end of the show, and I wanted to say a big thanks to Addison Nishijima. She sent in a very helpful link. It turns out that Oregon has a nice little map that shows the state campgrounds that have yurts and cabins available. Yeah. Totally helpful. From Addison Nishijima. What a fantastic site. I didn't realize that maybe most of the states have it. And what is that in regards to? That is in regards to Corey and I were recently doing a Real Fish Talk episode where we were trying to brainstorm some ideas of if we were going to do fan meetups that maybe didn't have anything to do with a specific convention or anything like that going on, where friends and family and people could meet up and it wouldn't be really cost prohibitive to a lot of people. And one of the great ideas that we came up with was possibly doing a camp out or something like that, where people could meet up at a state campground, which would actually be kind of a cool little event or something. And I need you guys to write in if you've got ideas of what you would want to do for a meetup or something like that isn't necessarily a convention, because we're not going to rent a convention center. We're not going to do that kind of stuff. We spoke about it at length during that show, so that is the big thing with that whole idea that has come up.
A big fish fan camp out?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the ideas. So it comes up to you guys, the subscribers, the fans, the patronizers. I'm asking you guys to post on the Patreon your ideas that you come up with. You could always post them in the chat, or not the chat, the comments down below. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, blah, 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 all that nonsense. If you guys don't know that at this point and you're watching YouTube, I hear it every time I watch a show. So I'm supposed to say it, right? But head over to the Patreon and post up your ideas there. That whatever kind of meetup meetup idea that you have, and also you could end up being the person that coordinates the thing if you are somebody who's willing to put that together and put some time and energy into it. I know that that's not an availability for every single person out there, but maybe you're not available to be the coordinator or anything like that, but maybe you're available to just show up and go like, hey, I'm in Wyoming and I want you guys to come out, drive out, do a road trip out to Wyoming. Yes. Maybe you're in Sacramento, California, and you're like, I want you to come to Sacramento. And here's one of those things is like, I don't live in Sacramento, so I don't necessarily know the great places to go in Sacramento, right? So that is one of the big reasons for it, is that like you may or may not know some really specific things about your area. If you look out our front window here, Mount Rainier, you can see it. You can see it from our house. You can see Mount Rainier. Vicky and I know a lot of great places around Mount Rainier because we live very close to it. So go to the Patreon, post up on there your ideas or what you might be bringing to the table. Maybe you own a giant campground. I don't know. I don't know how it goes. Maybe you own a convention center and you're like, I'll throw a free convention. I don't know. Are you all right? Oh, okay. All right. We're coming up on the end of the show. The timer's right there, babe. So, okay. All right. Anyhow, we're coming up on the end of the show, and I want to say thanks to everybody out there. And hopefully you have a fantastically safe evening. If you do get in a fender bender, don't just drive off into the darkness. That is not the way that you do it. That is not the way that it gets done. Just pull off and show them your... Just show them your insurance. Your insurance guys will figure it out, and it will be all good. Don't bring bigger problems to yourself, like firing off fireworks in the middle of the night. You might burn your house down, and that's no good either. Hell, you might burn your neighbor's house down, right? You know what I'm saying? But hopefully everybody out there has a fantastic Wednesday. Get ready for Thanksgiving. It's going to be fantastic. Don't eat yourself into too deep of a coma, because there's an 8-hour live stream on Aquarium Co-op that you all got to tune in for, and tune in for the whole thing, because which portion are Vicky and I going to be there for? I don't know. I can't tell you. I mean, I could tell you, but that would spoil the surprises! Later. Oh, it's real hot on the mic. I forgot we had this mic on here.